There's a silence some people can't survive. Not the kind that comes from being alone, the kind that comes from finally removing the wrong person from your life. Most people fear it. They fill the void with noise, with apologies, with second chances that should never have been given. But you're beginning to understand something they don't. Distance isn't cruelty, it's clarity. And today, we're going to dismantle the 9 psychological patterns that reveal when someone has forfeited their access to you. Not through drama, not through confrontation, through the quiet, irreversible act of withdrawal. Because here's what no one tells you. The people draining your peace aren't doing it by accident. They're doing it because you allow it. And every moment you delay this decision, you're choosing their chaos over your sovereignty. Let's begin. Sign 1. They destabilize your inner order without remorse. A Stoic doesn't ask for perfection from others, but there's a difference between occasional friction and chronic disruption. If someone repeatedly shatters your calm, not through conflict, but through their presence alone, your nervous system is sending you intelligence your mind refuses to hear. Peace is not a luxury, it's the foundation of everything you build. Anyone who treats it as negotiable has already told you who they are. Sign 2. They weaponize honesty to avoid accountability. There's a particular kind of person who hides cruelty behind the mask of just being real. They insult you, dismiss you, violate your boundaries, then frame your reaction as weakness. This isn't honesty, it's domination dressed in virtue. A true Stoic knows respect and truth are inseparable. When someone offers you truth without respect, they're not being honest. They're testing how much disrespect you'll tolerate before you recognize your own value. Sign 3. Every conversation costs you more than it gives. Energy is the currency of existence, and some people are in the business of extraction. You walk away from them feeling hollowed out, confused, questioning yourself. Not because the conversation was difficult, but because their presence operates like a slow leak in your psychological infrastructure. If you feel lighter when they're gone and heavier when they return, your body has already made the decision your mind keeps delaying. Sign 4. They engineer your emotional reactions. Control doesn't always look like shouting. Sometimes it looks like subtle provocations, little comments, strategic silences. Behavior designed to pull you out of composure and into reaction. The moment someone can reliably trigger you, they own a piece of your autonomy. And a Stoic never grants that power willingly. Distance isn't retreat, it's reclamation. Sign 5. Responsibility is always elsewhere. Blame is the signature of the immature mind. When someone never owns their role, in conflict, in harm, in misunderstanding, they're telling you something crucial. They will never change because they refuse to see themselves clearly. You cannot build with someone who won't hold the weight of their own actions. And staying is not loyalty, it's self-abandonment. The question isn't whether they'll grow. The question is, why are you waiting to find out? If this resonates, let the algorithm know. A quiet like tells me you're ready for what comes next.
Sign 6. Your growth becomes their grievance. There's a particular resentment that surfaces when you begin to change, not the kind born from concern, but from threat. You start waking earlier, reading more, speaking less, choosing discipline over distraction, and suddenly they have opinions. Your commitment becomes obsession, your boundaries become coldness, your self-respect becomes something they need to diagnose. This isn't care, it's control losing its grip. A Stoic understands, the undisciplined mind cannot tolerate the disciplined one. Your order exposes their chaos, your clarity reveals their confusion, and rather than rise to meet you, they attempt to pull you back down to familiar terrain. When your evolution offends someone, you haven't lost a relationship, you've outgrown a cage. Sign 7. They only remember you exist when need does. Convenience masquerading as connection is one of the quietest forms of disrespect. They vanish for weeks, months, then reappear with perfect timing when they need advice, resources, validation, or an audience for their crisis. And the moment you fulfill that function, the silence returns. This isn't friendship, it's utility. The Stoic sees through the pattern immediately. You are not a person to them, you are a service. And the moment you stop providing it, you'll discover how quickly affection evaporates into indifference. Real connection doesn't operate on a transaction model. It exists independent of need, and anyone who only shows up when convenience dictates has already told you what you're worth to them. Nothing. Sign 8. Authenticity becomes performance in their presence. There are people around whom you cannot be yourself, not because they're intimidating, but because being real invites punishment. You edit your words, suppress your opinions, soften your truth, not out of respect, but out of survival, because you've learned that showing them who you actually are results in mockery, dismissal, or weaponized judgment. This is spiritual suffocation. A Stoic does not live in disguise. Any relationship that requires you to wear a mask has already ended. You just haven't formalized the separation yet. And every moment you spend pretending is a moment stolen from the life you could be living in alignment. The question isn't whether they'll accept the real you. The question is, why are you negotiating your own existence? Sign 9. Silence becomes sanctuary. This is the final and most definitive sign. When their absence improves your life more than their presence ever did, the decision has already been made. Your peace has spoken. Your nervous system has voted. Your energy has chosen. Silence isn't emptiness. It's the sound of order returning. It's the space where you remember who you were before they convinced you otherwise. The Stoic does not cling to what costs them their center. They don't romanticize suffering or confuse endurance with strength. They recognize that some bonds, no matter how old or familiar, are quietly lethal. And the highest form of self-respect is the willingness to walk away. You don't owe anyone access to your inner world, not out of history, not out of guilt, not out of the fear that solitude means failure. Distance is not cruelty, it is discernment, and the people who deserve you will never make you question whether you deserve yourself. If you've recognized even one of these signs, don't just watch, subscribe, because what comes next will show you how to execute the separation without explanation, guilt, or retreat.